We are live.
Greetings, salam alaikum, and welcome on behalf of the Shaykh Fadhlalla Haeri Foundation and also today the Transform Academy for Integral Transformation. Today's uncommon dialogue and conversation between Shaykh Fadhlalla Haeri and Dr. Alexander Schieffer is going to be on the urgency of the journey of humanity towards unity. The Shaykh Fadhlalla Haeri Foundation and the Transform Academy share similar goals, which is to enable people to transform their lives and societies by integrating all elements of knowledge, consciousness, and praxis. Shaykh Fadhlalla Haeri is, as many of you know, a master of the art and discipline of self-awareness and transformation, having dedicated himself to seeking the unifying thread that connects individuals with humanity and humanity with creation and humanity with divinity. He has spent more than half his life sharing his insights and inspirations through books, talks, and diverse media presentations such as this one. With over 40 books, Shaykh Fadhlalla Haeri has tried to chart the experiential territory that all humans must grow aware of if they are to rise above concerns of survival to enable arrival at broader and deeper horizons of consciousness. He is, in a real sense, a cartographer of an integral life, informed and inspired by the idiom of Islam and the spiritual vernacular of Sufism. Dr. Alexander Schieffer is co-founder of the Home for Humanity, co-founder also of the Transform Academy for Integral Transformation, and the co-series editor of Routledge's Transformation and Innovative book series. He's also a lecturer at the University of St. Gallen and is a spiritual poet performer with books in poetry published in his name in both English as well as German, and he has even written a mythical novel in Portuguese. His real passion is to turn education and research into vehicles for holistic transformation and innovation, with the aim to support humanity's transition to an integral paradigm. And to that end, together with Professor Ronnie Lessam, in 2006, he established the Transform Academy, headquartered in Switzerland, with an active, interconnected community of transformative scholar practitioners spread out on all continents. And together, they've developed the Integral Worlds approach, an innovative transcultural framework for individual, organizational, and societal transformation. And in this work, they have focused on critical issues like community development, disaster management, food security, violence against women, economic revitalization, to corporate social responsibility and to indigenous healing systems, amongst other things. And more recently, with his wife, he has established a Home for Humanity in rural France, a living home campus for the integral role model and community hub for a growing community of agents of transformation. Today, I will hand over now to Dr. Schieffer and let him pursue his conversation with Shaykh Fadhlalla forthwith. Welcome to you both. Over to you, Dr. Schieffer.
Thank you so much, Muna, for this beautiful introduction. And I want to simply express my honor and gratitude to be today here with you and to have the profound pleasure to have this dialogue. I guess not a conversation, a dialogue, like the Greek meaning, the flowing through of meaning, dialogos, with Shaykh Fadhlalla Haeri, whose work I'm admiring for a long time and had the pleasure to meeting you in person. Because this is an uncommon dialogue, and because Shaykh Fadhlalla and I love poetry, I would like to open with a poem dedicated to Shaykh Fadhlalla, which brings us hopefully also right into the spirit of the uncommon dialogue. And the poem is called Uncommon Dialogue. Let who am I and what is life be the guiding questions for our uncommon dialogue. No one seriously inquiring into these questions could ever harm another being intentionally. Rather, they open the door to abundance, unity, and peace. Who would not want to cross this threshold? The isness of existence is all-inclusive, infinite. Let's meet in that space where all our questions have dissolved into love. And with this, dear friends, given that we are speaking about humanity in unity, I am aware and I would love to explore with Shaykh Fadhlalla the art and science of integral transformation and the significance of unity in our respective work. Because when I came across, Shaykh Fadhlalla, your work, I could immediately feel the profound resonance that unity is the starting point and end point of our work. And I would like to pose this question first to you, and perhaps later I can then explore a little bit how we try in our work to bring unity into manifestation on an individual level and on a collective level. And I would like to hand first the question to you. How is unity informing the work that you are doing since many decades?
It's already done. The work has already happened before it began, because it's timeless, because it is a quantum zone that there is no beginning or end or space or time or boundaries. So it's already done. That's why even religious people quite rightly say God's work is done. So there is only that boundless, timeless, infinite oneness that the mind cannot comprehend. But somehow some magical, miraculous event happened through folding and unfolding and infolding of lights and energies in the billions of different formats of them, that we call it now the Big Bang, or the event which started so-called our life or creation few billions of years ago. This is only one strand out of countless many other strands of awareness, of awareness, of awareness. So it's neither the beginning nor the end of such amazing events which are beyond the mind to comprehend. So the issue of unity and duality are inseparable. It is like the immense power of the sun. You can only know it, see it, understand it through some shading, through putting your hand of it, through filtering. Reducing the UV was an important step towards the emergence of life on Earth. The same thing is with the immense power of all powers, which we call divine power or sacred power. It had to be diluted. And the major dilution is a major step, which we call duality. So duality is the right lock and the key to unfathom and to open up the ever prevalent, the truth of unity. So I, as a human being, am caught between the situation of extremes. That's why the Buddhists, the Muslim, all of the others say middle people. Between the absolute, which is beyond space and time, and the relative, which is this now. And if I catch the now truly, then I am riding on the train of eternity. If I am in the instant totally, then I am touching Godhead. Then I am touching that which is infinite. And that's why it has got in it potency and freshness. And that's what we all want. Any living creature is obsessed with life itself. And the only way it knows life is through its life. So its life or his life or her life becomes the most important issue above all. But it is really life, not my life. How can I have anything? Where am I in deep sleep? Where will it be when I die? So it is life itself reflects upon anything that acknowledges it, because there is only it. There is only God. There is only reality. There is only the truth. So, and there are others which are hint at it, touch it, small shadow of it. But there is only that absolute reality. And that's why we love it, we yearn for it, and we have this fantasy of prolonging life. Life is forever. Once I have become a particle and I've identified myself with something that has a beginning, then it must have an end. So it is the most natural thing for me as an intelligent human being to celebrate death, because it must be the gateway to life itself without an identification with a particle. So it is the most wonderful, beautiful, perfect, natural state. But I have to be willing to read it, to connect with it, connect with supernature, not just ordinary nature, supranature, which is eternal. So my soul, in a way, can be regarded as representative or a messenger of that which is eternal, that which is absolute. So there can be no bigger gift than that. And if I don't recognize this fabulous gift, then no other gift will be enough. Nothing will be enough. No matter what you try to make it attractive, good, it will be appreciated, but they won't have the longevity, durability, the absoluteness of life itself. So we human beings have been, for whatever cause, reason beyond us, have been given a touch of eternal life. If we wake up to it, then you have woken up to that which is permanent, that which is semi-permanent, that which is impermanent. All of them are emanating from that fountainhead. And they are wonderful, 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 beyond intoxication. You have to really bring yourself down to sobriety to function as an animal on two legs. Otherwise, it is just too exhilarating. It's impossible to deal with. So this is the whole story. And religions, other cultures, other messages, they're all trying to convey that which is ever present, cannot be conveyed. It's the cause of presence itself. So this is how it goes. But we are now, I think, globally at the most wonderful stage in evolution, in the rise of the arc of consciousness. I think it's much easier now, much better, in that human beings have one way or another touched upon the zone of their divinity, of the presence of the eternal light within one. It's a great time we're in. Now, if I was born 1,000 years ago, I probably would have said the same thing. It's a great time we're born in. And that's how it goes on and on. If we do not see the magnificence of the now, we really do not enter into the divine precinct. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And what you are doing, I tell you, I know it. I'm aware what you are doing is magnificent. And I want to register myself as a student or as an inmate to come to Switzerland, especially if they give a nice meal, lunchtime or something. I definitely will come and stay there forever. Now, I need to have an occupation. So I don't mind what occupation I have. Maybe a doorman, maybe behind the doorman, maybe what. Really, it's wonderful what you are doing.
Shaykh Fadhlalla, I want to take you on this, and I take the metaphor of the doorman, because to my mind, you are actually exactly that. You are opening the door for us to see what is actually always has been already there. And this is exactly also why I agree with you. This time seems to be a time where we have a possibility of of planetary awakening to the trueness, to the isness of life. And the gateway is a now, however any religion on the planet may have defined it. Where I'm very curious on, and what I tried also in our work, is how do we, dear Shaykh Fadhlalla, support this process of awakening? Because what is already there and what people are longing to engage with, what are people longing to manifest in their own lives, has been incredibly clouded and diluted by the systems we have created. I work partly in education. Quite frankly, I work in there because I think it's the most powerful weapon, as Mandela once said, in order to lift the consciousness of the planet. But I'm also very aware that bringing into the educational space at the same time the absolute and the dual in a conscious way is a major challenge. And it is a challenge that I've dedicated my life to. And here I would like to explore with you the journey of the self that you once, a powerful one of your books that you once wrote, came, I assume, also out of the understanding that we do need in this time of awakening every possible support in designing or in getting support on this journey to awaken. I also feel around the world, people, also indigenous leaders who were hiding the secrets of life or were the custodians for it for their own communities, are opening it up, because we are at this profound threshold of moving to a new level, what you called in the beginning an integral life, which actually engages with the wholeness and fullness of life and not just with a fragment. And most of us, however, feel we are living in a fragmented reality, disconnected from the absolute that you described, and we are looking for a way forward. That is at the heart of my work, and I feel it's at the heart of yours, of being, coming back to the metaphor, the doorman who also helps to open the door to enter into paradise.
The doorman is a bit alarmed because he's not sure which side of the door will he be left. Either this side. These are all roles we play. They are insignificant. The same thing, the issue of fragmentation or locality or universality, they are seamlessly connected. If I, as a child, do not admit, do not accept, do not enjoy locality, being the son of a mother or a woman or a what, if I don't truly embrace locality, I will not evolve and grow into realizing that locality is only a blip emerging from universality. And the two are inseparable. The eternal, the timeless, the boundless is inseparable from the blip of the movement in time, which is a nursery. This is another womb. There are always twos. Same thing as there is a mother womb, then there is an earthly womb. That's where we are now. Space and time, I and you, up and down, acceptable, rejectable, and all of the dualities. And when I accept them all, when I submit to them and see them and live with them, I find they have emerged from the absolute cosmic unity, propelled by it, returning back to it, before time and within time, at the same time and in no time. That is beyond miracles. So I have to really be able to enter into that absolute silence from which everything emerges. And then I find there is perfection forever. And then, since I have an identity within a very short duration of birth and death, so I want to do changes, I want to interfere, I want to act, I want to do something, leave an impact, which is wonderful. So, but whilst I'm acting, if I realize that this is only a role, and I'm not just a role, I'm essentially a spirit, a soul, a divine, timeless, acting within time in order for the timeless to go through its journey from the perfect absoluteness of the heavens down for a touch of the earth and back again to heavens, because there is only heavens. There is only the absolute. Once I see that, then my work will be potentized, like your work, because it's emanating from a living, genuine, honest, sincere, courageous heart. So it will be potentized. And that's all. It sings it and it exudes it. And wherever it touches, it has an effect more than just causal effect of this and that. It's more. It becomes, if you like, the agent of that which is beyond the mind, beyond humanity, but it encompasses humanity. So all what we need to do is to be in the company of like-minded, like-hearted people. And that's all. The more you find the thing will resonate. It's all by vibration. It's by resonating, and it's coming, it's happening, and it's evolutionary. We are far, far more awakened now than 50 years ago, than 100 years ago, far, far more than 1,000 years ago. But you touched upon the word secret. A few hundred years ago in religious circles, whether Buddhist, Islamic, Hindus, the people who were on the path of awakening would often use the word secret, because the common people found it odd and will raise objection to it, especially organized religion. So this word saved a lot of heads rolling, that this is a secret. What secret? It reveals itself. God reveals himself or herself. The whole thing is revealed. But you are occupied, your mind, so I am occupied somewhere else. Until I am present, in the moment, in the second, in the now, all of it reveals itself. I don't need anything. Whatever is needed will come in its own way. I may raise my hand, I may open my thing, I may shake the tree, or I may not. Doesn't matter. My involvement is insignificant. The whole story begins and ends with acceptance. Acceptance requires immense honesty. Honesty can only come if there is courage. Courage will only be there if you are least scared about survival of the so-called you. There is no you. There is a slight shadow, but don't deny it. There is a slight shadow. And if I am in that shadow with my ego, I say, oh, you're hurting my reputation. I am not very happy. I now have to go with people who are going to enhance my ego. Whatever. As long as I'm honest, it will vanish. So this was an aspect of your, doesn't matter. Nothing matters, because the whole thing is light upon light upon light. And it's perpetual and it's eternal. And you have been endowed with that for you to live even. So what more do you want? What greater generosity than that is there? So the movement will become more and more exponential when there are people who are truly living it, exuding it, and understanding its nature. Nobody has it. It has everything. It catches everything. Then the thing will spread like anything, as it is now. And nature will come to its aid through lockdown, through less wastage, less running here and there. Where it's already there. Where is it that the divine light is not? So more and more people will awaken, not amongst those who are accumulating wealth, power to control. It will be more and more amongst people who realize that that is childish only. You can only do that until the early teenagers. But once you are in your 20s and 30s, shame upon you. What are you looking for? Don't you see how many people who are wealthier, more powerful, more influential, more whatever? Where are they now? All what remains is the extent of your honesty, courage, trust in the absolute and in the unseen, and being in the now.
You know, Shaykh Fadhlalla, you just mentioned that once you're entering your 20s, I mean, then you need to begin to awaken and to look for the real thing. And I want to share with you that so many of the young people, because the age between 20 and 30 are many of those I work with, are actually the moment, how to say, I'm a little doorman in comparison to you, but when the door is a little bit opened and this perspective is invited, there is a readiness to engage with this beyond my imagination. When I started it, I didn't believe I could go that far. And now I see the longing for the soul, the light, the true light is immense, and there is a readiness. And can I intersperse, and then would like to explore deeper on this level, I will share a little poem about the true work of the soul. It's called Liberation Liquors, like a little drink. Soul, being asked about her work, responded, my role is to grow grapes in the gardens of paradise, to become wine for the wise, elixirs for the ecstatic, amrit for avatars, and eau de vie for evolutionaries. In short, I distill liquors for liberation. Who would not want to get drunk on this? And I would like to talk with you a bit about the soul, because here's a discovery on my side. As you know, that I'm designing and guiding processes where people can make a meaningful contribution to societies in this time of fundamental transformation and awakening, to find their place in participating in manifesting wholeness, be it through enterprise and setup of an organization or a school or an entire economy. The journey always begins with what I call the calling of the soul. And what I discovered, that even in the most unlikely environments, like in a PhD program that I'm also directing, and by the way, we are calling the PhD a process for holistic development, that even in such context, when the journey begins with making a connection to the soul, to the deepest longing, to the light of a person, then we are touching essence. A person becomes essential, and in that essence is the energy to make a contribution, and that allows a person to develop the courage and to connect to the courage to go against mainstream and to go its own authentic and courageous path. And this is a journey, wonderful, I can see you back. This is a journey that we are going now in the last 20 years, be it with a young undergraduate, be it with a PhD level, or anyone coming to an open program of ours. And I see the power of the soul as the driver for what we then like to call impact, and what the outer contribution might be as a starting, and if you so want, endpoint, because you made this important point at the beginning. Ultimately, everything is already here. And based on the famous poem that we come at the end of the journey back to the beginning, we are connecting back to the origin. Also in the journeys we are going through, we discover the greater being that we are, the possibilities that we have to manifest something meaningful that carries the light from within, but ultimately also to discover all of that has already been here all the time. Sorry, your sound is gone. I can't hear you.
Shaykh Fadhlalla is muted. Could someone unmute him, please?
What a gift.
You are back, Shaykh Fadhlalla.
All right.
Yes.
Now, Alexander, the issue is simple to my mind. It really is the seamless, eternal connection between the one which is cosmic and the emanating dualities, pluralities, multiplicities from it. So I have to constantly be aware of my worldly side is to do with duality, good and bad, up and down, beginning and end, acceptable, rejectable, etc., etc. But this duality I am in on the earth draws its energy and its legitimacy from the cosmic oneness, which is, if you like, beyond the limitations of the mind to comprehend. It is, if you like, a quantum field that everything happens and doesn't happen instantly, constantly, and not. Now, so I, as a human being, am an interspace between that which changes, which cycle upon cycle upon cycle, and given the energy and the authenticity due to that which never ever changes, ever constant. Once I accept I am both, then evolution in me moves from physical, physiological, biological, towards higher lights, and ends up being constantly in the dot of B, in the divine, connection, which is the only source of all connections. So I don't deny physical connection, relative connection, family connection, physical, chemical, within me, inside my body, outside me connection. But all of them are tiny little emanations and returns due to the power of that infinite, boundless truth, which we call divine, God, or absolute, or whatever. So once I know I am in between the absolute and the relative, humanity and divinity, then this all becomes appropriateness. This is now a matter of pain in my arm. Don't make so much out of it, try to understand the reason or divide. It's a pain in the arm saying that I'm being disconnected and I don't like it. I want to be connected. Pain is that. It's an announcement of a minor, the announcement of disconnect. Whatever. Ignorance is that. So we want to know. Knowledge connects. Love is that. It connects. So we have been eternally connected from that absoluteness, which you may term singularity or whatever, that intense, whatever beginning. And that is in each one of us. We carry a memory of that. So that each one of us is striving to remember, touch, be, experiencing that moment from which everything emanated. The Quran reminds us that you remember that. It is in our memory. But what memory is not the mental memory? It is the spiritual memory. It's the higher memory. So this is not a big deal. It's already done. So the so-called I am having the struggle, trying to help others, to awaken them. Who told you that? It's for your own sake. Again, the Quran tells you it in 2 words. You do goodness for your own sake. Your own sake meaning to be a soul, to be a spirit. And the spirit is the agent of the divine. This is another agency. It's not a big deal. It's simple. The whole thing is to be honest and to be present and to be at all times in every way, willing to accept the consequences of cause and effect in the outer sense, knowing that all of it is emanating from that which is beyond the sense at the same time. That's it. It's magnificent. So to serve, to be the doorman or to be what, these are for my own sake, because I am still having a slight doubt. I'm still having a slight identification with the role player. I'm now a doorman. Who told you to be a doorman? So.
Now, Shaykh Fadhlalla, of course, you could say, and I agree with you, we do it on the one hand for our own sake, or for your own sake, but then there is no you. Then there is also something that does it I mean, that is calling force to do it for the absolute, for the whole, you know, that which we surrender to, that you mentioned so powerfully. And I wanted to ask you, because of course, on the one hand, I do see, like you, though I lived a couple of years less, but I can see, you know, there is a process of awakening going on. And if I look back into history, there seems to be not linear, but there is a kind of evolutionary process towards the omega point, as Tyler de Chardin once called it. And yet we can also see dramatically at the moment these kind of opposing forces playing out on the world stage. You know, people who are pushing towards more light and others who are in a way retreating into fear, into dictatorial systems. All of this is very present. And I would probably argue the world is just a reflection of our own inner state. So that's the energies we are kind of holding, and they're wrestling in many people. So what is your take on that? Because, I mean, however we would like to see it, I believe we have also managed to deteriorate our planet and its resources to a degree that our own physical life is on stake. So there is a certain urgency also to the situation we are in. And yet, I would say, like you, it might also be, and perhaps is, a time of great birthing of a new possibility for humanity. But it seems to be we are a bit at a crossroads and would need to find also our way to fully own who we truly are. Would you agree? Or how do you see the current situation?
For sure. Every age, every day, every year, intelligent people think they are at a crossroad. And they are. So in every age and every stage, if you look back, even almost prehistory, people think their time is the most difficult time, or a crucial time, or an important time. And that's also true. That's honest. Evolution is like an arc of rise in consciousness. And collectively, there has been rising and rising and rising. Now, the role you and I or anybody else takes on is an indicator of your inner state at that time. You know, if you are acting as a policeman to catch those who are abusive or breaking the law, whatever, you are doing good work at that basic level. It's important. If there is no safety and security, people won't be able to rest or do something or to care or produce or think. You know, nobody will do anything. So it's important. But equally important is the teacher who's sharing languages to make bridges between culture and so on. Equally, the role of somebody like you and your friends and others who are acting as spiritual midwives. They're there helping the people say, yes, this is humanity. You became jealous, you became afraid, you were scared about provision, so you started screaming. It happens. Humanity wants to preserve life, and in any which way it can. So don't worry, these things happen, but you are a human being because of the divine light in you. And your purpose is to be more and more and more tuned to the divine light, which is eternal. At that point, you have no fear, no sorrow, no anxiety. And if you leave your body and your mind, you are celebrating the truth, that your truth was that of a spirit that is not in need of the body or the mind. And now we celebrate your leaving the body, which other people, you know, they have to. It's very funny, actually, when people go to funerals, even though they know the fellow was cancer or whatever, he's relieved, or she is relieved. No, but they still have to appear glum and miserable. It's very funny how hypocritical we all are. They all have to appear solemn. What? You have to celebrate. The fellow has been relieved. What's that? Now we have to hide the body because it will decay, and we don't want to remember a person whom we loved as a stinking, decaying body. So we hide it. It's ludicrous. We really have to see things for what they are. And you have the inner smile that will cover up all of the other outer, you know, cultural, human, habitual issues. So the whole issue comes back to my being honest, responsible, accountable, fearless, without sorrow. Then I am in this earth, not of this earth. Then I acknowledge humanity and its frailties and its way to hide and keep always looking nice and so on, pretending. It's a nice pretend. It's not a bad one. But ultimately, the body will decay. Ultimately, the soul will remain also for what it is for a while until heavens and earth also collapse. So that's how it is.
You know, Shaykh Fadhlalla, you reminded me of something which is today very important for our friends from India. And you may know that my wife is also coming from India. And I know from our previous conversation that we both have a connection also to the richness of Indian culture. Today is the birthday of Shiva. And actually, you know, I have this beautiful sculpture here next to me, which is the dancing Shiva. It's called the Shiva Nataraj. Yeah. And I wanted to bring it because for me, it's always this beautiful symbol of wholeness. The circle in which he dances, a fire circle, but he's the god of creation and destruction, you know, correct. And your point about also embracing death as part of life, you know, rather than clinging to something which is a temporary form, which has been given to us. I couldn't agree more also when we think about how do we engage meaningful with life. And when I say the art and science of integral transformation, one could also say the art of living, which is at the very heart of what I'm about. And your point, which I would like to zoom in for a moment, and if you allow me, I will also zoom in once more with a little poem that I wrote last week. You talked about the attunement to this constant attunement to the oneness which is necessary. And earlier you spoke about the power of the heart. And the short, because people are at the moment so fixated on television, which is a kind of an illusionary reality, I have a little poem here to open this part of the conversation which I call Heart TV. Switch off all channels but one, the one. When you watch but the heart channel, the whole is held with ease. Simplicity comes naturally. Love is all there is. And you finally understand the meaning of the word television. And, oh yes, and here comes the best of it. This channel is not only free, much better, it completely frees you. Switch off all channels but one, this one. And the point I want to make is when we work in the ever-presence of the one, then the fullness of life is not only embraced, but can also manifest itself through me. And this is a key concern, Shaykh Fadhlalla, that I have, that we bring, you know, many people these days are occupied with how do we save the planet and all these social enterprises that come up. But I profoundly feel there is a need that we bring the inner work and the outer work together. So you don't go for the inner work, you know, for your weekly meditation session or the once in a while retreat or the silent prayer with your God, but you bring that into everything you do. And out of that, we can manifest. And this is, for me, the great challenge, if you so want, or not challenge, but it's the great task ahead to bring these worlds together where they belong. And here, Shaykh Fadhlalla, I would like to ask you, I remember when I first met you, the place you had created was called Ask, an academy for self-knowledge. I call our work very often the quest for humanity. And you know that in humanity, in the word humanity is the word unity. So the quest for our humanity is also the quest for the unity. And this is what I would like you to zoom in a bit. What kind of enabling places are perhaps needed, I believe they are, in order to allow these essential, primordial processes of the journey to the self to take place, like the Ask Academy, like the Transform Academy. Perhaps we can delve a little bit in the design of such places.
You know, life as we experience it is a process. It begins with just pure, simple awareness of a baby or a newly born. Then within a year or two, the mind begins to function, the neurons, the circuitry, all of these things begin to operate. And then within 3 or 4 years, we want to love and jump and make noise and be acknowledged and clapped for and eat and take the other person's sweet or try and share, but we always veer more towards the self because that's the love of the self, which means the love of the soul, but a child doesn't know, and on and on. So it's an evolution. And the time comes where we need to learn outer skills, which is the outer schooling and the formal education. But equally, we need the ambiences, the environments, which show us that this is not the whole thing. I need to have good faculties, good senses, body, mind, the physical side, the chemical side, the hormonal side, all functioning, a clear mind. I put my head and I go to sleep and wake up. You know, all of these things are needed, but not enough. That is why the companions, friendship, or certain places for pilgrimage, like what you are trying to provide, are helpful, necessary. It's a big service. One of the biggest things we can do in this life is to show otherness is only a certain tree emanating from the root of oneness. The others, what is the others? Same as I. The Quran says, not until you regard your enemy as your dear friend, you have not transcended your animalhood. So when I know they are the same, they want to have tranquility, peace, security, health, no hunger, no pain. All of us want the same thing. So we are the same as creatures. But the essence of that sameness is a spiritual, or if you like, a heavenly or a sacred oneness that's beyond the mind to comprehend. That is why it is sacred. And wherever you go, there is the potential of sacredness there. It is a question of that inner intention. And I think the world has reached a point now in its evolution, beside the physical, chemical, material, tribal evolution. It is now at a point that many people all over the world, no matter what religion, what culture, they understand that we all want to have certainty that the so-called hope I had is real, in that I know my destiny is perfect. What is that destiny? Absoluteness, boundlessness, eternal. Once I know my destiny is beyond the perfection that the mind understands, then I can be useful because I don't have a hidden agenda. I don't have another priority that I'm hiding because I've got the reputation of being a good do-gooder or a spiritual fellow and all of that. Things have moved very fast. People won't buy that anymore. A guru, where is the guru? The ultimate guru or the ultimate prophetic light must be within my heart, because the prophetic light came from the divine and the divine light is in my heart. So it's gone very fast, very rapidly in its evolutionary arc towards utter, total, absolute respect and reverence to now. Now is the connection with God. So the most revered thing. Time is the most reverential thing, because as you are alive, all what you have is time. But once alive, if you realize the reality of you is timeless, then you have no more anxiety about time. What is 1,000,000 years between friends? But as you are struggling, striving, and so on, time is all what you have, the real asset. Yeah. Because it's the connector with the eternity, with timelessness. Until you realize that your essence, my essence, is timeless, then you are relieved. Then you are truly relaxed. It doesn't matter. Few more years here and there, they will all discover it. If not in your time, in your circle, with death. Everybody will be given the same gift at death, that there was only that absoluteness And now there is the absoluteness, and your illusion that you could do this, that, or the other is no longer. You have no body, you have no mind. So practice that relief now. Total, complete, no will, no need, no nothing. Total, utter, absolute presence. That's it.
You know, Shaykh Fadhlalla, I need to share with you a couple of things that I also discovered in relation to what you are just saying, you know, this embracing of the absoluteness in very concrete terms, also in the kind of transformative processes I'm working with. So imagine, for example, I'm teaching now since 6 years, actually together with my wife, Ramamani. We are teaching together at the University of St. Gallen. And you know, university should be in a way embracing the universality of life, and often it doesn't. It fragments it into knowledge compartments. But now we are teaching since 6 years at the University of St. Gallen, which is a bit dubbed the Harvard of Europe. So it's really a career university for many young people. We are teaching integrated self-development. The young people are looking for the absolute in themselves. And they stand up at the end of these courses, and not because I want them to, because they come from this inner impulse, that what they're really looking for is that quality of love and light and participating in life in a wholesome way. It's not the career. Of course, people want to unfold in the manifest world, but that is not the primary purpose. And I have a couple of other examples I want to share, because I think something very precious is happening. And thereby also our works connect in different levels. There is in Jordan, in a country not far away from your original home, if I understand well, in Jordan we are working with a boys and a girls school in the middle of Amman, spearheading a process which is called Tanwir, enlightenment. So they bring together the players of society, from businesses to government services to local communities, to work together to create an education which is truly a vehicle for Tanwir, for awakening of the society. So these processes happen now in the manifest world evermore. In Egypt, another step, we've helped building an integral university for sustainable development. And at the heart is an enterprise called SICAM. And they are practicing what they are calling the economics of love. I mean, economic for the conventional person can't be more far away than from love. And yet in its origin it is, and they are re-owning this space of bringing the inner world and the outer manifestation together. And here I see an enormous potential for our evolutionary path in taking this further. Or like, for example, our PhD, which we, by the way, it's accredited by a South African university. It's called a process for holistic development. And people are coming who said, look, I'm not any longer looking for a PhD. The world doesn't need more degrees, really. But they're looking for a process that enables them to fully manifest the absolute in themselves. And this gives me great hope, I must say, for the journey we are in. And your work, as you probably saw also in my book on integral development, has really found a permanent place also in that curriculum that we are creating. And here's the last point I would say, and would like you maybe to explore with me, because I'm very aware, Shaykh Fadhlalla, when you talk about this, the journey of the self, you also talk often in your work about the journeys of societies to really bring out their full potential. And in our work, it is so vital that we build and bring in the different wisdom resources of our different cultures into a creative interplay. That is for me true diversity, not just respecting, but activating diversity so we can jointly create the greater good. And I would like to, could we explore for a moment that relevance of diversity, of culture and societal development?
Alexander, if we are aware as a mature being, if I am aware that I am essentially two, one as a human being with some sort of a will, can move, can do things, can keep quiet, can accept or reject. Once I accept that I am human, and humanity is diverse, diverse, diverse. No two instances are the same. So it is incredible varieties of possibilities within humanities. So humanity can cause havoc. The ultimate crimes, the warfares and so on, we are capable of destroying ourselves more than anything else, far, far more effectively than COVID-19 or anything else. Now, equally, that humanity will never be content, will never be truly happy, will never be joyfully in the moment, in the eternal moment, unless it gives up distraction. The whole problem in our modern age is that the last 200-300 years, we're poor people, comfort and ease, invent, everything hard, steel, railway, petroleum, eventually became smaller and smaller until the power of electron. And that's why we are now alive or moving in the so-called civilization we have due to electrons. We have zillions of electrons working for us, whether it is communication, whether it is heating, whether it's cooling. Well, electron is the smallest thing with a negative charge. We harness it and we cause havoc. So, so once I'm aware that I, the so-called individual human being, can cause havoc because I have no reference. Who is my master? Where is God? You'll say they go to the church, they behave themselves, they look solemn. When they come out, they're back to the same mischief, cheating, lying, all of the abusiveness. So not until we know, each one of us, that distraction is within me, I am causing it by allowing distraction. Distraction will lead to my destruction. And not until I take reference from the absolute, my soul, if you like, or Jesus in me, or the Quran, or any other, take reference with that which is going to last. And that's why, again, also in terms of wisdom, we are all the time now concerned more and more about acting wisely, meaning right judgment. Right judgment means something that you don't regret tomorrow or next year. It means that which is good for maximum number of people, longest period of time, which is, again, touching eternity. So this is who we are. And once there are enough people with that referencing, don't be distracted against, if you like, the commercial drive, which has caused all the havoc we have in the last few decades. Well, why not? Why not? More holiday, more clothes, more shoes. And that's why we are now choking ourselves. The whole earth is choking with useless stuff. And nobody's happy. And they become more miserable when they're deprived from wasting more money and more resources, flying here and there in the name of a holy day. This has to stop only with major catastrophic, if you like, events to remind us that the air goes in, may not come out. Are you ready to leave your body? Are you cheerful, celebrating death? We're far away from it. So your institute must be not only in Amman, and it must be in every village. Really, people who you will be helping, reflecting, sharing, really, until they are everywhere. That's it. So it will prevail. But at the moment, it is rare. So it becomes something fancy. Not until every other house has got somebody in it who says, no, thank you, I don't want anything. Go away. Thank you very much. It's fine. Yeah, I am atrophying. Leave me. That's it. Within me lies that which is beyond measure. What are you talking about? You're giving me only a few $1 billion? It's beyond wealth. It's a treasure beyond measure. Not until there are, and it will come. It's part of evolution. What knocks it will be in between, we don't. So that's how I see it. I really, truly, Alexander, I really mean it. You know, people like you bring a delight to the mind and more light from the heart. That's the truth. So may you live for another 200 years.
Maybe live for another 200 years. And I want to say this kind, I sense we are coming gradually now to the end. You know, this moment, Shaykh Fadhlalla, and this uncommon dialogue, to my mind, is also a very beautiful practice of transcending otherness and entering oneness, of entering into this deep space of experiencing, because I think the experience is absolutely vital. Experienced evermore the absolute in the presence of each other and within myself, so we can then grow to what we call, we can come home. You know, that's why we also started the Home for Humanity. And because you brought this beautiful story, when someone knocks on your door, you are kind of immune for all these kind of distractions. We believe also, if people come really home, every home could also then become, how to say, a vehicle, a catalyst for meaningful, for humanity to live in unity, and we could really restore the relational and the fabric of life on the planet. And if you agree, how about I'm closing from my side with a little poem, a poem also of gratitude for this incredibly rich conversation with you, for having seen you again, being in the same space. Also gratitude to your entire team, Muna and Abbas and your team. And I come back to where we started and close with a poem on the soul. And it's called Soul Shower. Take a soul shower. Every now and then, take a soul shower. Just step into the vessel of being and open your roof windows. Let soul rain on you, pour into you, fill you. Soak every cell in soul soap. Let soul do its work. Be, breathe, pulsate, soul. Relax into the treatment. Enjoy the tingling of soul drops running up and down your body, outside and inside. Have you ever felt more invigorated, energized, alive? No need to dry yourself. Soul integrates naturally. And anyway, keep soul showering every now, every then.
Brilliant, brilliant. What stops that cosmic shower is the so-called ego and my illusion and my mind. So it is I who is obstructing the brilliant gift of the soul. So I just have to stop me from me. That's all. Brilliant, 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 brilliant.
In that spirit, gratitude and thank you from the heart. And I hope to see you next time live in South Africa.
Thank you, thank you. You're dear in my heart. I don't miss you one bit, not a minute. Really.
Much.
It is true, it is true, it is true. Whatever is the connecting factor between people who have love between them is that original divine love, which says, I was a hidden treasure, unknown, and I created to be known, to be reflected upon. So you are dear, 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 so dear that you are never missed. You're only loved. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you. I don't miss you either. You're always present in me. Thank you.
Brilliant. Then the twos only celebrate the origin of oneness and the destiny of oneness. Big gift. I love you.
I love you, Shaykh Fadhlalla.
Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you, Dr. Alexander Schieffer. Thank you, Shaykh Fadhlalla Haeri, for this truly uncommon dialogue that touched on so many things that it's beyond my scope to summarize it in any meaningful way. I feel like I have had a soul shower, and this conversation has really made me personally very aware of the lack of integration or between my own home life and the outer life. And I'm certainly going to pour more soul attention there in the hopes that that also becomes a hub and a resonating space that can fan out in my local community. Shaykh Fadhlalla's comments about appreciating and understanding and feeling established in your locality being a foundation for seeing, you know, your universality and connecting to what is out there is being really driven home in this wonderful dialogue. And I love Shaykh Fadhlalla's idea of treasure without measure. We all want that infinite beauty, joy, ineffable sustenance. And it's been a wonderful taste today to have that through your dialogue. Alexander, you referred to a poem that, in fact, I know well, it's T.S. Eliot's. You said, and the quotation is that we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all of our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. I think you were referring to that. And that freshness is what is joyful and vibrant, and that is the space that is ours to claim, I hope. Thank you so much, both of you, for elevating our consciousness today. Wonderful. Bless you both. Thank you.
Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.